up to speed, up to speed, up to speed.
Live from the apocalypse, this is State of the Game. R.I.P. Rob Bass. Real spinner. Real spinner. My name is Dan O. I think, best described as a thruple. I've got so many personalities,
Okay.
so many different lanes. I'm a thruple by myself. Um, so a thruple of a person. My co-host is somebody who's become a star because of this show. He recognized everywhere, signing autographs, and he is. People walk up to him and be like, "Oh my God, were you ever attracted to a cartoon character?" And he'll take off his shades slowly and be like, "All of them."
Absolutely.
Yep. Give him a real
Abs-
moment. Give him a real moment. So I appreciate that about you, Kay. Thank you for being here every week.
yeah, man.
Whew. Some humdingers, man. We've had some good conversation. And we have an expert on today, author, DJ, music journalist, published. Um, wow. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Amani Roberts.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me. Excited to, let's see, debate and chat and go back and forth.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun uh, because we stay again. We cover a lot of different music, right?
Hmm.
But a lot of it is hip hop centric. But me and Kay, we kind of uh, we connected in a way because of uh, we a shared love of an R&B group.
Okay.
We were
Which
working in the
which
office today.
which group?
We were working in the office and we bumped into each other and he was talking about Lucy Pearl.
Mm.
But yes, absolutely.
And I jumped. I was like, Lucy Pearl. Lucy Pearl was the best. Lucy Pearl could have really been something. Um, and we connected on that. So we love R&B, soul, funk. We love these things.
Absolutely.
We are oftentimes looking for someone who would enjoy talking about this stuff. Um, because you know, even the Wu-Tang people were singing soul music while tears flowed down their faces in the back of that bus. Like they love this music too. It's all connected. So, um, but you published recently a book, The Quiet Storm, a historical and cultural analysis of the power, passion, and pain of R&B groups.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yes.
how how has that been going over? What is the reactions you're getting? How's it been?
It's been going over very well. Most people, when they hear about the book, they get it because they see the title, they know about the Quiet Storm, the radio format, they get that reference. And then when they see the research, they're like, you know what? You're right, because people kind of, it's kind of been hidden in plain sight, the disappearance of R&B groups. People don't really talk about it. It's not really spoken about too much. We just kind of keep moving on. So they kind of say, yeah, what happened? That's kind of the reaction. The big project for the next year is turning the book into a trivia game. That's the big project next.
Oh
And so
wow.
then
That's awesome. That's
eventually
awesome.
getting it in the right hands so it can be a documentary. That's a long term project.
Mm.
I love that. I love that. And the documentary thing would be fabulous. And it needs to be. And the way this is broken down is really cool. The way the book is
Thanks.
formatted is really cool because there's different eras. And then within those eras, discussion is each group gets its time.
Hmm.
We're going to talk about the OJs. We're going to talk about the Ohio players. And you go through that. Um, the coolest thing about doing that, and because like I've written about music, we've covered a lot of music. One of the things that's interesting about it, I just wanted to see if this happened for you, was you go in with a set of people that you want to talk about. And as you research them, it changes the relationship you have with that music
Mm.
because you're now analyzing it on a different wavelength.
Hmm.
And you might grow closer to someone's music than you were before.
Yeah,
Did
I
that
like
happen
that.
to you? And if it did, who did it happen with?
I like that. I would say right off the bat, the Isley Brothers. Now, I liked them before. I love them now. I
Hmm.
liked
Mm.
them a lot before. I love them now. I have the ultimate respect because, and we'll talk about things like this, like they're the only group in history to have a Billboard Hot 100 hit in 6 straight decades. And these are new songs in 6 straight decades. And that just blew my mind. In addition, they had a young Jimi Hendrix on some of their tracks early on, which
Wow.
really shocked me. So that's one group off the bat that I love more. I think the Supremes. I like them. They were cool, but to see what they went through and for them to come out on top and just be persistent, that's another one. And then the Whispers would be number three.
Oh, the Whispers.
Because
Uh,
and the reason for them is that they released their first single 1964.
mhm.
One of their goals was to get a Billboard Hot 100 top 10 hit. It took them 23 years to get there. And that I was just like, oh my gosh, what resilience. So that was with Rocksteady, of course. And so, and even in that, they got close. I think they got 17 with And the Beat Goes On in 1979.
Mhm.
And it took them 8 more years to get their top 10 hit.
Wow.
So those are three
Let,
that come to mind.
let me ask you, what was it about R&B groups in particular that was interesting to you? Why was that topic of group
Okay.
interested to you?
Yeah, because I grew up with them. I love New Edition. And so they were one of my first groups I really loved. And I knew that the genre itself is fine. Of course, now it's a little bit in the background because other genres, the genre is fine. But the groups allowed me to first focus on a specific niche. And I love my SWV, my New Edition, the Isley Brothers, In
Yep.
Vogue. So I
Yep.
grew up like with groups,
Mhm.
and then they would go single or whatever. And so it's just like that was just my decision and my choice, and it made it specific enough to really hone in on the groups. And as you see, I found out so much information.
Mm.
Yeah, I think, and I started. Yeah, so the Isley Brothers, I think, are one of the best
In
music
history.
groups that ever lived.
In history.
Right?
Amen. Yes, because they're still
Period.
touring now. They started in
Yeah,
1950s.
exactly. Yeah, they did like the twist. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
they
They
did
went from the
shout.
twist to Between the Sheets to the R.
Yes.
Kelly era to like
Yeah,
everything.
they did. I think their first was 1959 Shout. I know
Right.
you make me want to shout. And they have I think they had one after that, but Contagious was the last big one they had with R. Kelly.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it's interesting to listen because their stuff on Motown sometimes didn't fit in sense that they were like they wanted to stretch out.
Yeah.
They were ahead of their time. They wanted to stretch out. They had incredible guitar work, incredible bassists, right? Like they
Yeah.
wanted to stretch these songs out, and Motown was still doing very tight.
Yeah.
Hey, and by the way, speak like that's what struck me the most about the Supremes when I went back and fell in love with the Supremes.
Yeah.
Um, and they were just airtight, man. If you
Oh yeah.
listen to a live record, if you listen to a studio album, pitch perfect no matter
It's
where you
clean.
go.
Very clean. Now the thing about the Supremes is that they at first when they first signed to Motown, they wouldn't let them sing. They just had to clap their hands on songs. For over a
Mhm.
year, they had to clap their hands on songs. Then finally they were allowed to sing backup. So then they could sing backup. Then they let them release their own music. They were already a band when they got to Motown. And their first several songs didn't do well. So they were called the No Hit Supremes inside of Motown. The disrespect. The disrespect. But then they went on an unprecedented run. 11 of their next 14 singles went to number one. And that's nowadays you hear about people whose albums debut and they have 10 or all the songs are in the Billboard Hot 100 charts. That happens a lot nowadays. But to have 11 out of your 14 go to number one of the
Yeah.
main charts is crazy. Then with the Isley Brothers, because I talk about in the book, one of the most sampled hip hop, one of the most sampled groups in hip hop of all time. Like
Yeah.
just samples of, I mean, we know the famous ones. Between the Sheets with Big Papa, you have Voyage to Atlantis, or Footsteps in the Dark, excuse me, with It Was a Good Day. I mean, The Lady with Kendrick Lamar's Lady. I mean, the list just keeps going on and on.
And a funny little personal quip here. I was graduating college because I'm a veteran. It was like a special veteran thing, and Admiral was doing it. And I just kept humming and slapping my knee as Love Is Like an Itching in My Heart kept running in my head.
Hmm.
Um, I was just obsessed with it. That 1966 song. Um, yeah, the Supremes are always massively important. Diana Ross,
Yeah,
massively important.
yeah.
Um,
And
and
remember, this
and
is
yeah, maybe
they
the
were in.
lost diva in that sense, like someone who doesn't get credit for that, but Musher De Niro, sorry.
I mean, you roll it back like they were in the big in the '60s.
Right.
They were a female group in the '60s, like that. A lot of times we get a little bit, we have recency bias, but they were in the '60s with an all-female black African American group. Like that, it was not an easy road to go down.
No,
And so that
not
was
an
not an
easy
easy
road.
road to go down.
And that's what I wanted to set, like in terms of um racism is annoying. Racism is annoying because it's everywhere, right? So like it's subconscious. So R&B groups don't get put in the conversation with best groups because that's we think of the media wants rock groups to be there. Does that make sense? Like
I hear
so
what you're
if
saying, but
if
yeah,
somebody
go
comes up to
ahead.
me and says, "What's the best group of all time?" and I hold the eyes and say Parliament, they're going to
They're
get
not ready
mad
for
and they
that. They're not
shouldn't
ready
be
for
mad. Like that's
that.
a reasonable thing.
I mean, yeah, yeah. So you have to use the data. You can use the data that will help the best group of all time because then you can see some of them will rise to the top.
Right.
Like you have Boys to Men, definitely got to be in the list. TLC got to be in the list with the amount of records they sold
Oh,
and how they changed the culture. Like oh
Mhm.
my gosh, like the Supremes, absolutely. Like they changed culture, they changed the world. The Temptations, like these are groups, now of course you get to the 70s, the 80s, like it kind of peters off a little bit. Like New Edition was big, it was a little bit of a lull, but then the 90s were full of amazing groups.
right.
Destiny's Child, now they didn't, but like you look at TLC, female groups of all time, there are only two that have had an album go diamond, that are US based, that had an album go diamond, that's 10 million sales or more. Do you know which two they are? Which two groups?
It's got to be TLC or
That's
no?
one.
And
No, I want to say En Vogue.
No, no, In Vogue,
that would be
no, no.
awesome. But no.
In Vogue, I wish. In Vogue never had a number one hit. Never had a
Oh,
number one
I love
Billboard
it.
That's
Hot 100
Destiny's
hit.
Child.
Not Destiny Child. People guess that. It was the Chicks, Dixie Chicks. So
Oh
you think
yeah,
about that. So they had two diamond albums.
that makes
TLC
sense.
had one. So if you're going to talk about best groups, you got to have both of them really in that conversation. For sure. And love, so it's just In Vogue, it's funny you mentioned that. That was one of the other things that surprised me when I did the research. Like they never had a number one Billboard Hot 100 hit. Always came in second to a Mariah Carey, Mary J. Blige, Esther. I think Esther V had one.
Yep.
Even the singular artists in the era that were dominating, they just always came in second to those. Even their biggest hits, number two.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
crowded era. It was a crowded era.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
and
Very.
that's
Yes.
what we're going to get into. Like, what do you think?
Even
What
Janet
if?
Jackson.
Oh, right, right.
Even Janet Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson was in there. And so,
Yes.
what would you say are like something you wish more people knew about R&B groups? I have my answer to
Just
this, but
okay. Okay. I'm glad you asked. I wish more people would know the music that you're listening to today is most often interpolated from R&B groups of the past. The lyrics are the song are the same, or it's sampled. Like
Mhm.
so, a lot of the foundational chords you're hearing were first played and starred, so to speak, on R&B music, like from back in the day. Like so, the music you're hearing now isn't new. It's just done in a different format, done well. But the foundation of it is from like R&B groups, like, and that crosses all genres: pop, country, rock, hip hop, like all of it.
yep, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a great one. Because if you start tracing it back, you can start tracing it all the way back.
Yes.
And it gets really interesting that way. I used to get mad at hipsters who would make fun of how cheesy like Isaac Hayes was, and I'm like, you don't understand this shit.
Hmm.
Like he brought these songs from 2.5 minute Carpenter songs to 14-minute jams
Yeah.
that your favorite rappers pulled a ton of samples out of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Isaac Hayes changes music. So for me, my answer would be I wish more people were aware of the political history of R&B groups like that, like the OJs as an example.
Hmm.
Every song was about something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like vital. Ships Ahoy is like a hell of a thing.
Yeah. Well, to continue, then you look at like well, two groups I'll talk about in terms of like politically, the Impressions in the
Mm.
60s, Keep on Pushing, People Get Ready. Like they said it right there in front of you. Then
Oh,
Sly and the Family Stone, Everyday People.
Yeah.
Like those are three favorite songs. Like that was in the 60s. And so they were singing about it then. Now it's a little different nowadays for artists. They're not, unless they're really specific, they try to kind of toe the line, so to speak, and don't really sing about, it's just kind of, it doesn't happen this much anymore because they're so focused on their brand. And
Mm.
I just found that back in the day, except for certain hip hop artists, they'll say whatever they want to say, which respect, which is good. But in terms of R&B music, they were more vocal about the current events in their songs back in the day.
yeah,
Mm.
definitely. There was a slight uptick like Frank Ocean, post Frank Ocean,
Mm-hmm.
where songs got to be more dense and like talk about different things. Um, but that kind of died down. And we're back to
Yeah.
we're back to
Yeah.
some heavy, grinded out music. But yeah, no, it's been interesting. So I think that is undersold as well. Because what you said, like Everyday People comes on and it's just a jam that you grew up with and you're nodding your head, but you might not even be giving credit to how impactful it was as a political statement when it came out
Mm-hmm.
and what it meant. And that should be in its in its write up, you know, as it goes forward. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um yeah, but that's great. Yeah, I'm excited to check it out. I love this shit. So it's gonna be awesome. Um and I love this shit. So we're gonna talk about Janet Jackson. We are
Okay.
here convened today to talk about Janet Jackson in full. Um, I hope you two don't mind me starting with a rambly story,
Okay.
right?
Tell us.
So this is going to be my question. My question is going to be about when you first got interested in the music of Janet Jackson, right? And my answer
Mm.
is I've been thinking about it a lot. This is dedicating this episode to Pat. There was this guy back in the 80s, K, being nerdy was not because you liked Marvel or you wore interesting glasses. You were like broken toys. You were just at a different table, you know? And Pat was one of the broken toys with me. And uh, Pat was had a crush on this lady in our class, kept sliding her love notes, you
Mm.
know? And I remember talking to her and be like, man, you should give Pat a shot. Pat's a good dude. And she was like, Pat's a weird dude, bro. And I was like, what do you mean? What's going on? She handed me the love note that Pat had given to her, right? And he had said in the love note, people say that I'm obsessed with Janet Jackson, all caps. And then he just kind of went on this explanation about Janet Jackson in this love note to this other lady. And she was like, dog, he's obsessed with Janet Jackson. Like,
Good take. That's a green flag for
Pat's
my.
obsessed with Janet Jackson. And so I was like, that kind of made me giggle at the time. It wasn't on my radar. I was like, that's hilarious. So I would just go to Pat and be like, what's up with Janet Jackson? Like, what are you doing? And he would be like, you don't even know. You don't even know. And Pat was in. So, and his fascination with Janet got me fascinated with that fascination. And I started digging into Janet and going to Pat and be like, damn, she says some kinky shit. And he's like, you don't even know, man. So Um, yeah, Pat is the reason I got interested in Janet Jackson.
Good story. Okay.
Mm,
All right. Good story.
wow.
So,
Oh,
okay, when did you first say I'm interested and I need to kind of know more about Janet Jackson?
I mean, Janet Jackson is actually the first song I can remember. Like in terms of my whole life, it's the first song that I remember. Yeah. Um. So I think it was that, and then growing up in the '90s, she had a song, and I remember vividly as a kid, like "Runaway," which
Hmm.
came out well maybe '94, '95, maybe even '93. That
Mm.
used to be my favorite song as a child.
95 came out in 95. Go ahead.
'95, yeah. And so that was just my favorite song. And then like you said, she's been, I mean, she's been doing music for 40 years, probably more than 40 years. So her music during different times of my, like young adult, like, childhood life, I guess you could say teenagers, she would drop things that would kind of resonate with me at that time. And that was scattered all throughout my childhood. So
Wow. So you
that's my
didn't get into
experience.
Janet Jackson. That was your first. Like Janet Jackson was always there.
Yes. Yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
You don't
That
know
makes
life without
sense.
Janet.
No,
Right. Right.
no.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the way you put it, yeah, I mean, that's an interesting way, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. For me, I'm thinking of like a junior high school dance. It's time for
Mm.
slow jams,
Mm.
and Let's Wait a While comes on, and that song, although now I understand what she was talking about a little more, so much respect. But back then, we didn't really kind of get it. We didn't quite get it back then, and so that's a classic song. So that's my favorite
Really?
Janet Jackson song, and so that's where I kind of paid attention.
Yeah. No, it was that song works so well because her voice is so whispery and her character is so shy
Hmm.
that it feels like an intimate conversation, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Because if you think about it, music at that time, you had "Let's Wait a While," and then you also had Lisa and the Cult Jam talking about "I Wonder If I Take You Home, Would You Still Love Me Tomorrow?" So
Yeah.
you had the kind of two parallels going at the same time.
Totally. Yeah, that's a great point. Um, and if somebody was to ask me what is so important about Janet Jackson, I think the point I would settle on is vocally she's closer to Sade than she is to Whitney,
Oh, okay.
right?
Okay.
Like so
Okay.
she's more of a whispery delivery, and I think people have kind of critiqued her for this of like, her voice isn't really all that. Um, but even with this whispery voice, she's like the queen of dance music,
Yeah, she does well. Yes.
which
Okay.
is that's such an anomaly. Usually, if you see somebody who has like, that kind of whispery low voice, they're going to stick to slow, sensual jams. And for her to have just kind of galvanized the dance floor over and over again is pretty nuts.
Mm.
In addition to dance music, she also was one of the first female artists to sing on hip hop songs. If you think about All Right with Heavy D, like she was
Yeah.
one of the first. There were a few others before, but that was the one that kind of made it big for you, big on the charts.
And
Mm.
she,
And
yeah, go ahead.
if you go back to, it's more popular now, but back in the day it wasn't as popular when artists would kind of like guest sing on certain tracks. So if you go back to 87, Herb Alpert, two songs, there's Diamonds, Don't You Know, Diamonds, and then Making Love in the Rain. I mean, two very, very, one of Herb Alpert's biggest hits, like she was
Yeah.
singing on those. And that was kind of before it was more popular for people to sing and get credited for it. It was kind of not really that people would sing on the track, but you wouldn't know it was them because they wouldn't give them credit. They
Right.
gave her credit early on.
Wow, that's dope. And then one of the songs that really popped for me listening to this, there was a day where I just kept listening to this song over and over again, was off Unbreakable 2015, Don't Sleep with J. Cole.
Oh man,
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
beautiful song.
Beautiful song. And I kept running and I was like, God, this works so well. Like, I'm not even a J. Cole person, but like
Hmm.
I would
One.
I don't I don't want him off this song. Like it just makes sense.
One of the best verses he's ever done, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I agree with you.
Yeah, because she had another one. When was the one she did with Busta Rhymes? Like that's a classic hip hop song. The one she did. What's it
Right,
gonna
with
do?
that giant video. Oh
What's it
my
gonna be?
God.
Yes. So not only one a legendary video, but like what's it gonna be? I think the name. That's like a classic hip hop song. I gotta.
Yes.
And so what's it gonna be? 99 with
Yeah.
Busta Rhymes, number
Her
3 on the
ear,
charts.
her ear was so good at
Yeah.
hearing what was going on and understanding it and being able to fit with it. To be able to fit next to Busta Rhymes and Q-Tip and all these different people over the years, because I don't know, sometimes like even Michael, when he tried to incorporate rappers, it got weird.
It didn't and it wasn't the final product wasn't as smooth and as strong as Janet's, but that's a fact. We know that.
Right.
That's a fact. Now also we I don't know if we're gonna talk about it, but remember, she was also acting in a lot of movies at the same like right going on at the same time. She was in Poetic Justice. She was first on Different Strokes. Remember that? When she was on
Yep,
Different
yep,
Strokes? What else did she act in? She was also Nutty Professor.
Yeah, the clump. Yep.
Yes, I
yep.
mean, this, so she's getting number one hits, albums, and like box office smash hits too.
Hmm.
Like Michael, he never really did that. He wasn't really in movies like that.
Yep.
So she kind of was definitely, as we like to call, multi hyphenated, as we call it
Yep.
nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, an incredible ear, but and there's yeah. To add to your point, you were talking about like things that Janet did that were different from anybody else. One of the things I've been thinking about so much this week is there's just nobody with as many skits as Janet in R&B like history. Like is we Rhythm Nation and Velvet Rope get talked about like classics. These are classics, and no one ever goes, "Holy shit!" Like half of that is skits. There's skits all over the place.
That's a good
They
point.
but they work. They
Hmm.
work because when she does a skit, it's weird and it's personal and sometimes silly, and it feels like you're getting a behind the scenes footage.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
it's a skit that it's not like random skits. They connect or lead into the song in some way.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
It works. She ahead of her time. We'll say
yeah.
that. I mean, that's to put it simply.
And that's what I wanted to talk about with because one of the things about history of R&B is producers don't get enough credit, right?
Mm,
Like
okay.
uh people don't talk about Gamble and Huff enough,
Ooh,
right?
okay. Yes.
You know,
Yes.
people don't talk about lots of these people enough. So when we're talking about Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis,
Mm.
and I think they full on went together at Control. I think Control was the first one that they
Yes.
right.
Which was their third. That was their third
Yeah,
album.
third album, not Dream Street, not any of that. So when they get together for Control, it felt like they set up a set of rules that they followed from then on
Hmm.
that no one else really was following. They kind of set up their own universe.
Yeah.
What do you see as that universe that they created? What did they do together that was maybe different or uniquely to them?
I would say if you look at how they formatted most of the albums they produced at the time, the albums always had some dance songs on it that could hit the radio in crossover genres. It always had at least 2 or 3 strong ballads that could cross over light radio, pop. So they were smart in how they designed, in my opinion, the dance songs, the ballads, and they gave the artist a certain amount of freedom to kind of show themselves in each of their albums. And a lot of
Yes.
times they wouldn't like many producers really wanted to stick to kind of their format, but they allowed artists to have freedom so that they could express themselves within their album. So those are the three things that I noticed right off the bat, and and they're legends.
Yeah.
I think for me, the third album, and you see that we speak a lot about, careers almost in a literary way. Like sometimes, I think of Jay-Z like the character in a book or something. You know what I mean? Like Kanye West is a character in a book. And I think for me, when Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis came, that was the beginning of the character of Janet Jackson as we know her in terms of the artist in these days. That edgy, embracing all parts of herself. Like that didn't come about until who was it, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis came into the book. So I give them a lot of credit for helping kind of shape her into what she is, what we know about her now in 2026.
Yeah, I mean the receipts are there. Just look at the
Yeah,
chart. The receipts are there, and proven time and time again. I think she's probably the biggest artist they've ever worked with,
yeah,
and so and they're
and
legends.
yeah, and I think that they really took like the Janet Jackson mold of making like superstars. I think in the decades after, a lot of producers used that same blueprint to make a lot of stars that we know nowadays as well.
Well, look at the different genres. I always say this because I always relate it back to R&B groups, but they're like if you look at the singular artists that are doing well, say in K-pop, they're
Mm-hmm.
copying a similar blueprint, maybe to like a Janet Jackson. You look at the groups that are doing well in K-pop, they're copying the New Edition playbook, they're
Mm-hmm.
copying the TLC playbook. And we already know that NSYNC and Backstreet Boys were copying the New Edition playbook because they told us. They admitted to it already.
Yeah.
So you can see down even what's the new group now? I like the Cat's Eye copying a similar blueprint. So if you're looking
Yep.
at singular artists, take a Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah. Yep.
Hot, hot, can sing, can
Yep.
dance, act. Who do you think of when you look at her in terms of her? Because she can sing now. She can sing very well. So she would fall right into that blueprint and she's got some lascivious lyrics in there. She's pretty nasty herself.
Yeah.
And so that kind of falls right in line
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
she's not like copying like a Mary J. Blige or Mariah
Right.
Carey. She's like copying like a Janet Jackson, like because if you listen to what some of the lyrics she has, Bed Kim and some other things,
Yeah.
like that's stuff that Janet was kind of singing and talking about back in the day.
Yep.
I
Like.
love that analysis. I love that analysis. I never would have gotten there. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's and speaking of sexuality, one of the things I'm talking to people about when I'm doing this Janet research was like her sexuality feels different to me than Madonna.
Okay.
Right. They're like Madonna, her sexuality, I always linked Madonna and Prince.
Oh.
They were trying to push sexual boundaries in
Mm-hmm.
terms of sexual norms. They were trying to shock people, you
Hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying. They did shock people. Good.
And they did, but
Yeah.
like when Prince sits down and on that controversy album and he's writing a song about incest or whatever, he knows what he's doing, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And so for Janet, sex was a little bit more personal.
Well, yeah, because look at her upbringing. Like she couldn't really talk about it when she's very strict upbringing, so she had to be subtle. I hate to use the word sneaky, but it kind of
Boy.
snuck up on us. If that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you wouldn't see a song title like When We Ooh and know that was gonna be, you know what I mean? But if you were a Janet fan, you're like, okay. Like uh
Yeah.
it was really, and so there's songs that really struck me like Warmth off Demita Joe is just about fellatio, but it's like the calmest, kindest, most sensual. Like it really is just walking. Like I'm taking control of this. This is what's going to happen, and I love doing this. And it's joyful in this weird way. Like
Mm.
her sexuality was very personal and treated very personally in this music. And that's always something I respected, and I think it
I,
allowed her to shield it, okay? Because like the singles would be the dance singles, right? Daybreak is the single, or whatever. And track 12, track 15
yeah.
is crazy.
For me, what it is it's the coyness. I think the
Yeah, that's a good
sexuality in
word.
terms of the coy, there was a coyness there, but she would give you glimpses, like little flashes of, oh, wait a second, there's behind this, facade, there's some really interesting stuff going on here. And so she would give you little flashes of that and then put back on the mask facade, the coyness, and coyness is almost seductive in a way. So I think she was seductive in a way that a Madonna, if we're comparing artists,
Yeah.
was not. And you
Yeah.
see that coyness sexual, that's another thing that's used nowadays as well. Like to go back to Sabrina Carpenter, like that's straight from the Janet Jackson playbook.
Like, yeah, like the coyness is a great word. Like, but she gave us clues, just how Kay said, because if you go back to like 94, anytime, any place,
Yes.
like she
Yes.
was
I love that.
telling us what was going on, but then she'd go back and she released some other songs, You Want This and Scream. So she kind of snuck it in there and people listened to it and were singing along, and then she went back to put the mask on, as Kay said. So there were clues there all the time. For
Absolutely.
sure.
And the cool thing is, like, any time, any place is a great example, because that's a type of being in love. You're in love in a way where you're like, I don't care who's watching, bro. Like, I'm ready at any time. You're ready. Like, that's awesome. Like, that's a feeling if you have, and she describes it really, really well. Um, yeah. So like, it's just, and you talked about the dance music and the ballads. Janet's mid-range game is nuts. Like
Yeah.
the songs that aren't really Rhythm Nation, Daybreak dance music, but they're not ballads. You were talking about Let's Wait a While. But When I Think of You
Oh, that's nice. That's my second. That's a good one
is
there. That's a good one.
bonkers. Like
Yes.
the pace of that one,
Hmm.
how it moves, it's just spectacular. Like
Well, yeah, yeah, and then but you have like so many. You call it mid-range, mid-tempo songs as a DJ. Between like 90s and 110 or whatever. Miss You Much, pretty simple, pretty
Woo!
basic song. But it fits, it works. I mean, you just go down the list there, like Escapade, kind of light,
Oh, wow.
nothing too happy. Love Will Never Do Without You, nothing, not like slow down ballad, but still in the middle there. That's the Way Love Goes. Like you just have all these singles that are just kind of right in that pocket, and just hit after hit after hit.
I I don't know about as a DJ, you must have had some interesting experiences with this, but like over time, I was like, holy shit, great mid tempo is the hardest shit to do because most people don't know what to do with mid tempo, right? If it's slow and you slow dance, they understand that shit. Okay, it's time. If it's fast and it's get crazy, they understand that. Mid tempo, to have a mid tempo song with such gravity that you can have backup dancers to it,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Like
yeah,
you've done something there.
yeah. Yeah, mid tempo though, you can rock that at a lounge. You can rock that early on in a set. You can use it to cool down a set, so it works if you understand it. Like you can make some good Janet Jackson. You mentioned him earlier, like with some Frank Ocean towards the end of the night, and
Yep.
then you mix that in with like some Joe. There's definitely artists you can kind of mix it and work it, and it fits, and people will still be vibing.
Hmm.
Right. Right. That Donnell Jones album
Okay,
that
now that's a
inspired
whole
Jack
different.
Harlow to be where he is. I would love to
That's
interview Donnell Jones and be like, "Have you listened to this Jack Harlow? He's doing you." That I was anyway. But we'll so yeah, I think yeah, it's really interesting to see that, and then the longevity is unprecedented, as Kay has said.
Mhm.
So the different eras of Janet
Yeah.
are wild to think about.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, from the early '80s till she just has a song with Cardi B recently, and she has a song with Daddy Yankee, and this is 2026. So
Wow.
still, relevant. She had an amazing album. I'm trying to look at the album. Hold on, where's my little list here? Like she had a great album that came out. I think it was.
Feedback.
I'm trying to think which one. So
Unbreakable is the one I love from
Unbreakable. Yeah,
2015.
Unbreakable came out in like 2015. That's like
Yep.
Yep.
11 years ago. Hits. I mean, what was on there? Unbreakable 23. Like
That
just
was the Don't
hits.
Sleep one with J. Cole and everything. That was
We
Night. Night is on there. Night is
night
crazy.
night
Yeah.
unbreakable.
No Sleep,
coming out.
Unbreakable, Damn Baby. That's the one I like. Damn Baby. I like that one
Yeah, I
right
know that.
there. Like
I know that.
that's like so now we're waiting to see because she's on tour again,
Mhm.
and
Oof,
I
oof.
don't know if she will put out another album, but if she did, it would do well. And think about this, like so Unbreakable came out in 2015,
Yeah,
and so let's see here. So Discipline came out in
Discipline.
2008,
Yeah,
number one on the charts. Unbreakable
great
came out
song.
2015, number one on the charts. We haven't even talked about this is after the whole Justin Timberlake Super Bowl issue that
Oh,
she was kind of blacklisted. She was definitely blacklisted from radio, but she's come back now. She's back
I
like she's back.
Kay knows. Like I hated Timberlake's guts for like 10 years for that
Mhm.
shit. Like
Yeah.
I was so mad because it's really important if you are white and you are supporting black music, like Timberlake was, that you do so and you don't turn in your card and run when it
Know your
gets tough.
place.
You know what I'm saying? Like stand with this or
Yeah.
get out of here.
He
Uh,
ran. He ran only to try to apologize later.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I would have a tough time with him. Uh, even being here with us, I'd be like, I have a tough time with him because
yeah.
Janet meant so much to me, and that was clearly something they had worked out. That he then acted like he had no part of. Like,
Yeah.
and yeah. Anyway,
But
but
that
no,
also
that's
feeds into the part about Kay when he said she's kind of coy. That would be Exhibit A if we were to take her to court because they
yeah.
knew what they were doing.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. Yes, they knew what they
Right.
do. Yeah, and she was so it was a heck of a time. But like, yeah, there's so many different eras. The Unbreakable. There's a moment on Unbreakable that's really interesting where she has an aside that she says to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and then she goes, "Oh, because I know you're gonna keep this on the album." And it's such a fun, and she starts yelling at like kind of play yelling at them, and like it's that beautiful relationship because I've heard interviews with them where they were like when they went in for Control, they just talked for the first 3 days,
Mhm.
and then the story she told them became the songs on Control.
Yeah, see?
And like, so one of the rules I think they had was your personality has to lead this.
Yes.
Mhm.
We're not
Mhm.
just making songs, we're
Mhm.
making your songs.
Mhm.
So, so her
You have to,
personality led Pleasure Principle. Her personality led Let's Wait a While. Her personality led did she have Nasty on that one or was that the album after?
that was Nasty. Nasty was on Control, yeah.
So once again, she's giving us clues.
Yep. Yep.
And
So
that's a great story to hear from Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. I think because you know if you compare her to like someone like Diana Ross, you know what I mean, who
mhm.
came 20 years before her. It usually where I think Diana Ross was molded, like they had an idea for an artist they want, and they found someone talented enough to fulfill that role idea. And I think Janet, like they created Janet from Janet, so it just feels she had a power, sense of autonomy and control that someone like a Diana Ross didn't.
and that's why
Yeah,
I think like
I would agree.
when I'm writing stuff, sometimes the titles
Mm.
of what I'm writing are are reminders to me.
Mm.
Not to I don't care what the audience thinks. The title is to remind me of what my goal is. Control kind of feels like that.
Mm.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
this is our hypothesis on how we take control of our careers.
Mm.
Um, and I think one of the rules with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis was there's going to be an element of the beat that's going to hit you in the face, whether it's the guitar, whether it's the bass line, whether it's something's gonna slap you immediately. So you're awake and active and on the journey with us.
And it
Mm.
works. I mean, just hits after hits. Like, yeah, yeah. That's
Think
it.
of how
That's.
nasty the Sonics are on Rhythm Nation, like on the
Oh yeah,
just that stuff is hard.
yeah.
Um, it's really like we are hitting you in the face with the.
Well, we'll keep going. Then I have a point to add when you finish.
Mhm.
Well, Black Cat
Yeah.
from that song hits you in the face.
Yep, yep.
Mm.
They actively wanted that because they knew they were dealing with somebody who was shy, with maybe a whispery voice,
I mean,
and so I think great producers find a way to juxtapose the
Hmm.
talent that they're dealing with.
yeah. And I mean, you got to remember Terry and Jimmy. They both came. They both came from the time, the Minnesota. So
Yes,
that Minnesota scene
the
with
Prince
Prince,
scene.
and
Yeah.
their time were about we're going to make the best show possible.
Right.
So they're bringing that mentality, like, and that mentality, that energy, they're bringing that to Janet Jackson and what they want to do with her. So that reflects in the songs that she was making at the time. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. we can keep going. Like, what's the one song from that one? So because you look at the albums, like you can find the ballads. Like, I think that one was that was not funny when How Time Flies. What was it? Come Back to Me? Come Back to Me. Once
Come
yeah,
again,
back to me.
you got your hits, you got your dead songs, but you got that ballad in there. Come Back to Me.
Yep.
Like, that's a stone cold ballad.
that was the first song that I remember. Come Back to Me.
Hmm. And they would play it all the time on urban radio,
Yes,
on top 40 radio, on pop radio, on MTV. They would play that song to death.
that's probably how I know. Yeah,
Yep.
It crossed over well, very well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's interesting. You can have three Janet Jackson fans in the room who are fans of three totally different eras.
Oh yes, yeah.
You can have the Control Rhythm Nation Janet fan
That's
in the
probably me.
room,
That's probably me. That's my era. But go on.
right? In the room with the 1993 Janet era fan, right? Which you probably pull Velvet Rope into that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then you can have the early 2000s Janet fan,
Okay.
because that's like, and honestly, that's the era I go back to the most. Is from 2001 on, right? 20 YO, Demita Joe,
yeah,
All for You. Like I go back to those a lot.
yeah,
Those are really interesting records to me.
absolutely.
That 3 album run is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could, and everybody in the room could be right, but that's a good problem to have.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, doesn't really matter. 2000, number one U.S. hit, went gold, and was in Nutty Professor 2.
Yep.
Like, that's like a triple play. She has the number one hit. She's the lead actress in the movie, or supporting actress. And, like, I
Is
mean,
it better? Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I would say this is an artist who has acted with Eddie Murphy, has been on the same screen with Tupac. Like, just oh my goodness! Like, it's amazing. Go ahead.
So I was thinking about it. You gave the great chart data, right? I've always maintained that having a diamond record will burn you alive. That it is too much. Hootie and the Blowfish is the great example, right? Hootie and the Blowfish were so diamond that no one wanted to deal with them ever again. And that happens
Yeah.
where people go diamond and then go away. I'm wondering if it was an advantage that she didn't have a Thriller, that she didn't have an Only Built for Cuban Links that she constantly got marked back to. She didn't have an Illmatic that got held over her. She was able to kind of keep reshaping in
Okay.
that way.
Okay. So when you say that, immediately I think of Lauryn Hill.
Think who?
Lauryn Hill.
Oh, hell yeah. Great point.
Like I love this mythological character. What's the name of the character that flew too close to the sun that
Oh,
he got
Daedalus.
burned?
Daedalus. Yeah.
Icarus.
Who?
Yeah.
Icarus.
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 Yeah. Sorry, Daedalus.
Icarus. That kind of is a parallel to what you're saying. Like Hootie and the Blowfish would be an example. Lauryn Hill. Like the miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Now it went diamond. I went diamond. It said here like it went diamond maybe 23 years after its release, but that song was on a rocket ship up, and so
Right.
it took 23 years. But she never really. She had an unplugged album after that,
Loved it.
Yeah.
which
But that was
did
it.
phenomenal. But then and then she had a couple other hits like The Sweetest Thing and a couple of singles, but never another album. Never another album. And so that's a second example, in addition to Hootie and the Blowfish, about how I never thought of that, but that's a good point. How like if you go diamond, that you kind of get burned up.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we have some unicorns, like a Michael Jackson goes diamond,
Right.
and he's fine. Now I wonder, after TLC went diamond, did they kind of start their decline? I have to check
I
and
mean,
see.
Yeah, they
Meatloaf is a
started.
Meatloaf is a great example of sell 10 million records, and then you're gone for like 10 years.
Because
So
how can you duplicate that success? It's so hard. Boys to Men got diamond for two. No, they're number two, not Cooley High Harmony. That one's close actually. But then they never really got back to that level either. Then they really took a big drop off. But now they kind of come back and done well. I have to. That's a good.
Boys to
That
Men,
would.
because even Boys to Men were oversaturated with like, it's these dudes in the same white suits surrounded
Yeah.
by candles. Like, get these dudes out of here. Like,
The anti Jodeci. So what happened was that that's with your permission. That would be a very fascinating research topic.
do it.
Like that's because that's where the book came from. That's where the Quiet Storm came from. Is why what is causing the disappearance of all the black R&B groups? That was the question.
Yep.
Very quickly after I did the research, okay, 99.5% of all R&B groups are black anyway, so it's just R&B as a whole.
Sure.
But then it would be very fascinating to say, let's do some research on what happens to artists after they go diamond across all genres. And you can see, and that would be with your permission,
Yeah.
of
And
course I give you credit.
that's a documentary, right?
Yeah.
Talk
Yes.
to anybody from Boys to Men and ask, right? Like,
Yeah.
what is the difference with Diamond? Because like, I would love to ask Lauryn Hill, would you rather have one Diamond album or 3 double platinum albums?
Yes. Yes.
Like, what would
Yes.
you rather have? Because like, if you have 3 doubles, like you're just on a good run, and people are gonna follow you through the good run.
Yeah.
You know?
It's so funny because like I'm in the middle of like applying for teaching positions, full-time professors, because although I teach a full-time load in music business, I'm still considered part-time. And in the application, they ask you about research topics. And to present this as a research topic would be that could be a great conversation during an interview. Like, oh my goodness. Like
Here.
I would love to ask the Dixie Chicks.
Totally.
What happened?
100%.
Because I think what it is for me, like when you cross over into diamond, you stop being an artist and you become a product. In terms of now, when record labels are reporting their numbers, they're going to talk about how they have an album from you coming. Or I just think once you get to diamond, then the powers that be have made a decision, like we got to maximize our product as opposed to the artist.
Mm-hmm.
They burn you out. Like they burn you out. It looks like, look at how did Marvel go bankrupt the first time?
They had one big movie, right? There was the big movie. Go ahead, tell us.
They went bankrupt the first time before Iron Man came out, before any of that. They went bankrupt and lost their rights because they did too much. I'm a Punisher fan as an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Punisher's great. Well, guess what? Now there's 10 Punisher series running at the same time. They all have alternate covers, right?
Mm-hmm.
The store's filled with Punisher. Now you've burned them out. You've burned out the people. There's too much, right? Wolverine. Now there's too much Wolverine. He's in 7 different series at once, and people are tired of seeing him, right?
Yeah.
So they weren't patient. They weren't a commodity, right? We always talk about this, like Denzel Washington only shows up when he's got a movie.
Mm-hmm.
He fades away the rest of the time because the Denzel mystique is real and it's potent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he feeds that. So they didn't get a Mystique. You don't have a Mystique if you're 10 million. You're on coffee mugs, you know? It's tough. It's tough. The media saturation is wild. So,
You, yeah,
you know,
yeah. You give a great point. Hootie and the Blowfish. I mean,
yeah,
they came, and that was their debut album. Came out like probably I don't know if it's their first album, but it was one of their first.
yeah.
I mean, Darius Rucker is still
You
Yes.
still
out
doing
there.
stuff? Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think once you know, and I think when Michael, like when he went diamond off of a Thriller, then he starts thinking, well, I can't go backwards. Now, what am I going to make? What am I going to make that's going to be equivalent to Thriller?
And he
That
can't go back to
becomes
being he can't go back to being relatable.
no,
He
no.
can't hang out on the corner. Like he can't like
You're
he's
starting it right.
with
It's
gold on him.
done.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's where he's at.
It's done. Like it's
Yeah.
done. Then like it's just that's such a fascinating. What? How long have you been sitting on that?
I've been saying that I've got all kinds of weird theories that I just have been saying everywhere for
That's
a
a
long
great
time.
topic. That's a
Uh,
fascinating topic. Like
but yeah,
because
what
you know me, I'm like a data guy, analytics. Because
Mhm.
if you can get the numbers to kind of support it, then you can write your own hypothesis of what happened and why.
Yeah,
And so that's like I get the data point, but the question, that's a great question. So
yeah.
props. Thank you.
Um,
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
no, good. You can have it. That's awesome. But so yeah, it's Janet. Yeah, there's a different eras, but I think she is helped by the fact that she doesn't have an Illmatic that gets held over her head.
Mm,
So that's why Pitchfork loves Unbreakable. You can read the Unbreakable review on Pitchfork. They love it, right? Like the critics never turned on her in that way. Um, yeah, and some of them I don't because of how coy she was with her sexuality. It took a long time for them to realize she was that freaky.
She was giving us clues, but it took a long time for the
Yeah.
mainstream to get it. She was giving us clues.
Probably one of the most sexual people in R&B, but like no one knew. No one
So,
knew.
so the beauty of Janet, one of many beauties, is that if we look at like music, R&B, hip hop in general today, there's no subtlety. Like she
Right.
was
No.
subtle and snuck it. Nowadays they're just straight up blatant and don't leave anything to the imagination. Back in the day, Janet, you had Rick James, Prince was leaving subtle compared to nowadays. Like now it's just different. It's just so different. It's very fascinating.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think, and the way I'd frame it, because I don't want this to come off like we're old and we yearn for the olden days, right? This is just stuff you can learn as a creator. Janet was able to make her songs personable, even if they were political. There's political stuff on Rhythm Nation,
Hmm.
and but it always comes off like, can you believe this is happening? It's like her having the conversation with you.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
always felt like you were there with her at going through this.
Yeah.
And that's what separated her from people. I was thinking about Mariah Carey when like Mariah Carey had this ear and I was like, the dream's writing for you now. I can hear it. I can hear the dream. The dream is very unique in how he writes songs. This is a dream song.
Yeah.
And so her voice was never there wasn't usually there in the art. You were hearing big songs. And she was cranking out big songs, but I
Well,
wasn't as connected to her personality as I was to Janet's, if that makes sense.
and I'm a huge Mariah Carey fan,
Me too.
as you can
Me
see
too.
from the vibe cover in my background.
Yeah, me too.
So I think there were certain songs she wrote and did well. Like I want to say "We Belong Together." That was one. If you go back in the day, "Love Takes Time." Like she wrote a lot of her stuff. Once she got to that mid 2000 era, she had a couple hits with "The Dream."
Yep.
Jermaine Dupri and her produced some amazing songs in
Yep.
that. So I think she had a good mixture. I just always have to defend Mimi because that's my girl. Um,
Emancipation of Mimi is fantastic. That's a
yes.
fantastic album.
Yeah. 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 The Emancipation of Mimi, because she also went through a little bit of a mental breakdown, had to come
Sure.
back. So
Sure.
you have these big artists, these big R&B artists that had to come back. Hers was for like personal. Janet was for what happened on TV, but they were able to successfully come back and continue to kind of do well. So that's
Yep.
that. You said something else though. What was the Janet song that she's got the video with the chair? Was that Pleasure Principle? What video was that
I
when she
think
was
that
with the
might have been
chair?
Pleasure Principle.
Okay,
Yeah.
like so once again, the video and the dancing.
Mhm.
She was ahead of her time with that too. Like if you add this all up, like the song, the lyrics, the production, then you add in the videos. She had another strong video that was amazing. It might have been Rhythm Nation with all that choreography and everything that was like tight, tight, tight.
Mhm.
I think that was another one too. But anyways, that just you reminded me of the video. I don't think they were pouring water, but she had that chair. She did all that choreography. Like, whew, that was tight.
It was one of the things everybody remembers from that era, right?
Hmm.
But I think that's exactly why. I remember thinking, I don't know, I was thinking about what is the best lead single of all time,
Mm.
and it's such a nerdy thing to think about, but I that's the way love goes became my answer.
Mm. Why?
The case is because I'm not. This is not data, right? This is just uh context, right? Putting
Yeah.
myself in her shoes. Rhythm Nation, as you said, that whole they had so many videos for that album. The style of the videos was so unique, right?
Hmm.
With the blacks and the grays and the military uniforms and like it became that's Janet Jackson. And she could have easily replicated that or tried to work within that again, but she goes, "No, I'm coming back after 4 years, and my first single is this kind of haunting groove that's just very light, and I'm going to be snapping my fingers with my homegirls, and we're going to be hanging out and driving places, and yelling things at dudes, and like." She was no, this is going to be very earthy and real, and it's going to be very confident, and as if there was no pressure.
Mm.
She created a video and a song as her lead single that was like, what pressure?
Hmm.
I'm Janet,
Hmm.
just Janet, hang out with me. And it worked. And we never pigeonholed her in the Rhythm Nation skin
Mhm.
because of that bold move.
And
Um,
that lead single went number one across numerous charts, so it did quite well.
right.
Two
And
time
it's
platinum.
And it's one of the strangest lead, like number one on the chart songs, right? Because it's not like a crazy banger.
It's kind of a mellow, kind of chill song. That's the
Love
way
goes.
love goes. Yeah.
If you were just looking at the track listing, you never would have picked that one as the lead single.
But I guess Jimmy Jam and Terry
Yeah.
Lewis, when they heard that song, they're like, okay, this is the one, and we're going to lead.
Yeah, and sometimes they like people like producers like to give surprises. So they'll do the lead single as one thing so that people create an expectation. And then when they hear the actual project for the first time, have a completely different experience with it because it wasn't what they were expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. We can go down so many rabbit holes.
No, but I just wanted that moment to be on the board of like
Mm.
the important artists, they know how to put a stamp in this. I was thinking, think of David Bowie, right? Affiliated with the Ziggy Stardust era, the Thin White Duke era, to just put the stake in the heart of that and be like, it's Let's Dance, it's China Girl, I'm in a suit, I got slick back hair. That era's over.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
that
Funny you
takes a
mentioned.
lot of guts.
Funny you mentioned David Bowie. He was the one who believed in Luther Vandross before
Yep.
Luther Vandross believed in him.
That's one of my favorite. That was a turning point in my relationship with Bowie. That Young Americans album is like, all right,
Yeah.
I get it.
He
Yeah,
had Luther singing back up on his tracks and
yeah,
said, "You need to go solo. You need to get over whatever it is that you're dealing with, and make it happen." And Luther talks about it extensively in his autobiography and in the documentary. And I don't know. Like you said earlier, I don't want to be like, get off my lawn, old man from
Sure.
whatever Clint Eastwood in that movie. I'm not sure artists would do that nowadays. Have the
Right.
self-awareness to and be selfless to be like, you know what? You need to go solo, and you need to believe in yourself as much as I believe in you. Now, maybe it does happen, but I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. To put people on like that and not
Yes,
expect anything back is like, yeah, that's a different
that's
level.
rare. That's
And
rare.
that's it'd be almost weird to expect that out of people. Like that's like beyond.
Yeah.
Um, but Bowie did that time and time again with what he helped Lou Reed do, you know, Iggy Pop, on and on.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's definitely a great point. But I think that's and the competition that Janet was facing through all
Woo, I'm surprised this. I'm surprised it took you that long to bring it up. Do you know the big artists that were out when she was
it.
like the 80s and 90s? We talked about some of the groups that were
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
but
yeah,
then
yeah.
she could be like a Mary J. Blige,
Right,
Whitney Houston,
right.
Sade, Mariah Carey. We could talk about the men also. Like so many male artists were out too. Like her brother,
Right,
Michael Jackson.
right.
Yeah.
But she
Like
also lived through the
Prince.
yeah. She also lived. She fought Prince on the charts and fought Genuine on the charts. Like that's how long she was around.
Yes,
I
yes,
mean,
and
that's
probably who
wow.
she fought like like Boys to Men. Like she's competing against all of them for the people's money and attention. Like these
Right.
TLC, all these legendary groups and
Yeah.
singular artists. Like I'm trying to think of some more of the male artists that were really big during like the '90s. Um, I'll
But
think of
she
some.
yeah. But
Go
she
ahead.
kept her world so heavily curated, Kay. I never listened to a Janet Jackson and thought about her having to go against the market. I never
Right.
thought about, oh man,
Mm.
Whitney's putting pressure on her. I never thought about that
Yeah. 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 Um.
Mm.
because her
Yeah.
world was so just different in terms
Yeah.
of how it was tailored.
I mean, okay, so we got a list here like from the '90s. R.
Mhm.
Kelly. I
Okay.
mean, he was
Yeah.
running R&B,
Dominated,
love him or
dominated.
hate him. Brian McKnight, like, Keith Sweat, Babyface, Maxwell, D'Angelo. Usher was kind of coming up for early on in the '90s.
Yeah.
You mentioned Genuine, Montel Jordan, Joe. Like, like, I mean, of course, George Michael. I thought about him earlier.
Right.
Ricky Martin.
Yep.
And then you have
Madonna.
yeah, Madonna. Oh yes,
Yep.
Madonna was
Yep.
probably the main one. Like
Right.
her, Whitney, and Madonna in the '80s and '90s were like, whoo,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. It's
yeah. Like
it's different.
so if you were to compare, okay, so if we're talking now, okay, look, if we just listed about 20 legit like superstar groups
Yeah,
and
yeah.
artists who like nowadays in music, like who would she be competing with from this current era?
Ooh, that's a great
Taylor Swift, yes. But
The
that's
Street
different. It's kind of
Carpenters.
different. Yeah, Sabrina
Oh, you're
Carpenter.
talking about on her level.
I guess because she's kind of outlasted most of them. She still competes, competing with Mariah Carey. I mean,
I
that's
mean,
different.
her competition would be probably be Beyonce. I mean, that would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I agree. Beyonce. Who else besides Beyonce?
right. I mean, Beyonce's cleared the field out. So I mean, I don't.
I
I mean,
wish so that's my thing is I wish Janet, Terry, and Jimmy could kind of create their own label and help artists who are
Yes.
kind of almost
Yes.
there get there.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
someone like Joyce Rice.
Yes.
Joyce Rice is amazing.
Yeah.
And sounds
One
like
of
sunshine, but like who I want more people to know Joyce Rice.
but so like he said you mentioned Beyonce kind of cleared out the
she
competition.
cleared the field out. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's amazing because like you would think a Jasmine Sullivan. Ooh, old girl can sing and
Sure.
everything. It's just
Sure.
not. It's not comparative to when you had Janet Jackson compete with like an R. Kelly, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey,
Right.
Joe, Genuine. Like it's just what happened. You said Beyonce cleared out the. That's true. Like it's A. Marie. That was from the mid '90s. She had a
Marie.
nice little run too. But like
Love Dame Marie. Absolutely.
yes. Like what happened?
Now, if I was gonna pick, I've got this pick, K. my
Okay.
dark horse to become the next Janet Jackson, to have this kind of long, interesting career with a strange voice and personal songs, I might go Olivia Dean.
So Olivia Dean is nice. She's on a hot roll right now.
And
But
she's got a different, her songs are different. You know what I mean? Like
yes, yeah, she got
You
an old feel to it. I think like let's
you
see how she does over the next two albums because we're trying to
agreed.
get her to get like, a decade or more, you know.
Oh,
What were we gonna
I,
say,
I'm
Kay?
thinking about this like a draft board,
Yeah.
like a
Okay,
big
okay.
yeah.
draft board. You know what I mean? I'm like, Olivia Dean could be someone that is able to do this. Sustaining is hard, but
Oh,
not
You,
underrated
you you know what it is? We just don't have
either.
one. I don't. There's no vision in the music industry right now. So they're not looking to make like we think about Janet Jackson, but we also, like I said, Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam played a big part in molding who she was and molding that character. And
yeah.
they're just not they don't there's just none of that like character building here in modern popular
Yeah.
music.
Yeah, it's like one album and done. Like they're not building
Yeah.
album upon album. Like another person I put on the draft board would be Money Long. Money Long would be on there. Victoria Monet would be on there.
Yes.
Those are two that come out like right, like because they've both been around for a long time writing for other people. So they've got
Yep.
hits for like decades. It's just for their own personal stuff. See them out there. I always have Jasmine Sullivan on the board. Her,
Yep.
SZA. Like
Right.
SZA, okay, SZA's doing well. Like she's kind
This
of
is
getting
phenomenal.
there. She
Yeah.
she's there. Like that's one that's there. But that's five. We just listed 20 from before, which is so shocking.
And what I like about SZA is she is kind of dictated, like, I'm gonna drop an album at my pace.
Hmm.
I'm not into the content wars thing. Like I'm gonna take my time with it, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but she almost feels like, I don't know, her music almost feels like Tracy Chapman, the dirty version. Like it's it's very it can be very minimal and hushed and like in terms of the production, right?
Another one that has some potential, Kaylani. So
Kaylani,
Yeah.
I
Kaylani,
love Kaylani.
yes, Kaylani, she's kind of on a nice trajectory. She's been through some life too.
Yeah.
She's kind of been through it, and that folded song right there.
That's
That's
good
gonna be
shit.
her penultimate song. Like that song right there. Who else was it? Was
But
someone else?
for me, Kalani is interesting because I think it's like you said, she's very talented. But if she could get the right producer that had a vision
Yes.
and work with them, and but you saw like I think of the person that keeps bumping into my mind is Aaliyah
Oh yeah,
and
Sure.
how Timbaland and Missy Elliott played that role in molding her music. We're just not getting relationships where like a Timbaland is
Yeah.
working with someone who has the talent because he does work with younger artists, but they don't have the talent like a Janet Jackson would have. Timbalands are not getting with young Janet Jacksons right now, which is
yeah.
the issue.
And if you look at her career trajectory, she was on her way to similar heights because she was in movies.
Oh, for
She
sure.
had
Yeah.
number one album. She was following along that pathway and then gone too soon. Like she was
Yeah.
there. Like
Yeah.
that's a great example of like it got cut off.
And I was thinking about that in terms of Victoria Monet is a great example. She has all the tools, right?
Mm.
All
Oh
the
yes.
tools to do that world takeover. But who's the producer who you would lock her in with that would be her Jimmy Jam Terry Lewis, right? Like that's the kind of question to answer because it's that's kind of the difference I maybe with a lot of this stuff.
And and if you look at back, but when Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis kind of started working with Janet, they were unknowns.
Hmm.
They were unknown. So who is it now that's an unknown we don't know that
We don't
can
know.
work with some of these artists and get them to different levels, like a Babyface working with a Mary J. Blige and a
Right.
Mariah Carey, like
But
a Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis working with like a Janet Jackson. Like it's like we have to know who's on the inside, who's kind of up and coming now that can do that.
Yeah, that's why like I want more people to yeah, like as an example, one of my favorite albums of this year, I think it's The Pleasure Is Yours by Gina.
Oh.
And Gina is Kareem Riggins and Live.E. Um, and it's amazing album. And Kareem Riggins makes sense for Live. Like they just
Hmm.
clicked.
Hmm.
Um, and Gina was supposed to be an acronym. Everything's an acronym. But like in reality, she's like, you guys are going too hard on the acronym. It wasn't really an acronym. Um, it was a reference to Gina from Martin.
Oh,
And it was like
okay.
an inside joke between her and Kareem Riggins. No, nobody messing with Gina. Like, it was great. And I was like, that kind of shit is the kind of shit that elevates you in your art. When
Hmm.
your inside joke is something everybody in the world wants in on. Like, that's the kind of extra steps. So I would love that for more R&B people to get the collaborators they need to go to the next level. But yeah.
Yeah. It's a whole nother topic for a whole nother show.
Uh, Kay, do you have any other closing Janet points?
No, I mean, it's just amazing to think about how many decades she's been in the industry and how she's delivered hits and all of the hits sounded like you said. I think that aha moment for me was when you said you've grown up with Janet Jackson. Like, yeah, I mean, there's a whole generation of people who grew up with Janet Jackson music.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And they go to her tours and her shows and sell them out every city.
Yeah, amen.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, we can do that. The it's fabulous, and I don't think we. It's not like we were able to answer Janet Jackson and be like, we solved it. Um, that was never the intention, but we at least gave people stuff to think about.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and yeah, so I would go into recommendation corner, recommend some stuff we've been listening to, um, or excited to listen to. Uh, First, I want to shout out my wife has a community chorus that she's a part of. Uh, and her final concert went really well of the season, and I was at the concert, and they had this dude on piano, Pepe. Shout out to Pepe. And Pepe was going heavy on the keys. It was beautiful. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna go home and listen to Horace Silver all day tomorrow. Like
Mm.
that's my favorite heavy on the keys. So um look, yeah, I would just say in general, find your streaming service, look up Horace Silver, and start with songs for my father, and then just go wherever you want. Um, incredible, incredible musician. Um, the other one is Wiki from New York is coming. Um, I love Wiki. He's got a new album called Ancient History.
Mm.
And it's the single's awesome. Very excited about that. One of the real interesting creators of our time, Kay, that we saw live. Vince Staples is coming out with a new album.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And those singles have been fabulous. And one of the things I've been talking with people about like Vince Staples knows songwriting. Like he's a good songwriter. Like his songs have bridges, hooks, the whole deal. And you know, that we hope that doesn't become a lost art. You know what I mean? That these songs can have parts and sections and not be uniform. But so those are my three. I've checked this new Vince Staples. It's coming out soon. But yeah, Amani, what have you been listening to?
Let me look here because I listen to such random things here. Let's see what I got here for this. So there's a remix for Leon Thomas. The Yes It Is song with Money Long and Marsha Ambrosius. I like that one a lot. I'll also like Mayetta. Hope I'm saying her name right. She's got this song with Ty Dolla $ign called Kissing New People. I like that
Yep.
one. Then Victoria Monet, Let Me. I think that's going to be like a song of the summer. Those will be three right off the bat. And then hold on, I just heard this one song and I Shazammed it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But those are just some, because it doesn't matter where we're listening to them.
Mm.
Um, let's see here. And then Tone Stith Fly. So those are four right there. And then Leon Thomas again with My Muse. I'll give
Mm,
you five. So those are
Leon
five right
Thomas is
there.
catching fire. It's good
phenomenal.
stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Because he had that I'm a Mutt song from last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what have you been rocking with?
I recently saw I Love Boosters. I thought it was really, really enjoyed it. So I would recommend the movie, and then the soundtrack is actually really wonderful as well. Kiki Palmer
Mm.
has a few songs that she performs on, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was excited. I had the choice between that and Mortal Kombat 2. And I
You
gave
chose
in.
Mortal Kombat too.
I gave in to my lesser instincts. I
Oh.
wanted the ridiculousness, and I got the ridiculousness. That
Yes, you
was
did.
delivered.
Yes, you did.
It was fabulous. So
Wow.
but shout out to, I got a chance to do the Crate 808 podcast this week. He's doing a Loud Records look back,
Hmm.
and they had a 36 Chambers episode. So, and I accepted that invitation. And Alaska Adams, shout out to Alaska Adams from Def Jux. He was he he was like, you should watch Widow's Bay on Apple TV, and Widow's Bay is dope. We're two episodes in.
Mm.
It's it's a scary horror thing, but it's funny as hell too. And that is an interesting mixture. That's like a Twin Peaks mixture. That's really hard to get. Um, really well done. So I'm excited about that. Apple TV has a bunch of good stuff that gets buried because they don't market anything. Um, but they got good stuff in there.
Oh yeah, that's one of the best streaming platforms for content.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of good stuff to look forward to here. Thank you so much for doing this, Amani. This was
Yeah.
fabulous.
Agree.
Uh,
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
yeah, type Amani's name into Amazon, buy the Quiet Storm book, and enjoy that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, be
Yeah.
mindful of where these groups get their place in history. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah. Agreed.
care about the history.
If you have any musicians that are listening and they
Yep.
want to talk about making better business decisions, making more money, just go to my website, amaniexperience.com/call. I'd love to talk to them for free because I know you have a bunch in your audience. I'm
Oh
here to
yeah,
help share the music business so they can make the best decisions possible.
that's awesome. The AmaniExperience.com.
Yeah.
And it's great. You always give real jewels about trends and things. And the other problem that I think is out there, and I want to see if you've encountered this, there are some people that are like, let's say, former A&Rs giving advice about
Mm.
making music, but they're giving advice from 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't work like that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm always wary of that, of like, yeah, I mean, that worked in the 90s, but like, that's not the environment we're in now. That can't
Yeah.
be applied the same way.
It's changing every hour, every minute, every day. I think just in general, I won't go into the weeds too much.
Mm.
Like artists should really create their own communities so you're less dependent on the algorithms that control what people see. I always say have your own website, grow your own email list, and
Mhm.
I can help you build an ecosystem from there. I'll teach you how to do it. If you want me to do it with you, I can also do that. But I think it's important for you to build your own ecosystem so you're not dependent on algorithms with other people.
Mhm.
That's just my
Yep.
philosophy.
And build with your peers. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Build with your peers. You can reach up and try and get somebody who's on a higher level, but they might play you out because they don't need to help you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not on your level. So the people that are on your level respect what you've done more. They see you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You build
There are
it up.
very few David Bowies out there.
There's
If you're
very
fortunate
few.
enough if you're fortunate enough to run into a modern day one, hold on to them, but don't expect that.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. But yeah, thank you. This was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely respect the history.
Yes. Now,
And
when you have a Mariah Carey episode, I'll go back and get in deep with Mariah. That's my girl. So just let me
I'm
know. I'll
ready.
come back for that one. I'll be ready. I'm
I'm
ready now. I'm
always
ready now. I got my notes up here.
I'm always ready for Mariah Carey. Always ready. I when there's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I voted for her every time.
Yep, she
Uh,
didn't get it yet. That's 2 years in a row, but soon she'll get it.
she will
Absolutely.
absolutely get it. It
Yeah.
deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Protect this history. If
Yes.
you are telling people you love black art, then fight for it.
Amen. Yes.
What will tomorrow bring? What will tomorrow bring? What will tomorrow